Global updates.
Welcome to the Global Updates, bringing you the latest news from around the world. In a move that sent shockwaves through the global automotive industry, former President Donald Trump signed an executive order mandating that all cars sold in the United States be manufactured domestically. This unprecedented decision aimed to reshape the American auto landscape and was a significant part of Trump's broader America First agenda. The executive order, which was signed with much fanfare, required that automakers shift their production lines back to the United States. This move was intended to bring back jobs that had been lost to overseas competition and to revitalize American manufacturing. The order was seen as a bold step towards economic nationalism. This unexpected decision, a cornerstone of Trump's America First agenda, aimed to revitalize American manufacturing and bring back jobs that had been lost to overseas competition. The slogan, "Buy American, Hire American," became a rallying cry for supporters who believed in the potential for a manufacturing renaissance. The order stipulated a phased implementation, giving automakers a time frame to adjust their production lines and supply chains to comply with the new regulations. This phased approach was designed to minimize disruption and allow companies to gradually transition their operations back to the U.S. Trump's decision was met with mixed reactions. While some hailed it as a necessary step to protect American jobs and industries, others were skeptical about its feasibility and potential economic impact. Supporters lauded the move as a bold step towards restoring American manufacturing dominance and securing jobs for American workers. They believed that this policy would lead to a resurgence of the American auto industry and create a more self-sufficient economy. They argued that relying on foreign automakers had weakened the U.S. economy and made it vulnerable to global economic forces. By bringing production back home, they believed the U.S. could strengthen its economic foundation and reduce dependency on foreign markets. The executive order, they believed, would help reverse this trend by incentivizing companies to invest in American factories and workers. This investment was seen as a way to boost local economies and create a more robust manufacturing sector. Critics, however, raised concerns about the potential consequences of such a protectionist policy. They warned that the move could have unintended negative effects on the economy and the automotive industry. They argued that it would lead to higher car prices for American consumers, as domestic production often came with higher labor and regulatory costs. This increase in prices could potentially reduce consumer demand and hurt the overall market. Additionally, they feared that the move could spark a global trade war, as other countries might retaliate with similar protectionist measures. This could lead to a cycle of tariffs and trade barriers that would harm international trade relations. The executive order immediately became a topic of intense debate, with various stakeholders weighing in on its potential impact. The discussions were heated and opinions were divided. Economists, industry experts, and policymakers weighed in on its potential impact on the American economy, global trade relations, and the future of the automotive industry itself. The long-term effects of this policy remained uncertain, and many questions were raised about its implementation and sustainability. The future of the automotive industry was now at a crossroads. Would this move lead to a new era of American manufacturing dominance, or would it create new challenges and obstacles? Only time would tell how this bold policy would reshape the American auto landscape and its ripple effects on the global stage. One of the primary arguments in favor of Trump's executive order was its potential to boost American manufacturing and create jobs. This executive order aimed to bring back the golden days of American manufacturing, where factories were bustling with activity and workers had stable, well-paying jobs. Proponents argued that by requiring cars sold in the U.S. to be made domestically, the order would force automakers to invest in American factories and hire American workers. This move was seen as a way to ensure that the money spent by American consumers on cars would stay within the country, thereby boosting the national economy. This, they believed, would revitalize struggling manufacturing communities and provide much-needed employment opportunities. Small towns that had been hit hard by factory closures and job losses would see a resurgence, with new factories opening and local businesses thriving once again. Supporters pointed to the decline of the American auto industry in recent decades, with many factories closing down and jobs moving overseas. They highlighted the impact this had on communities, where once thriving towns were left with abandoned buildings and a sense of hopelessness. They argued that Trump's executive order was a necessary step to reverse this trend and restore America's manufacturing prowess. By bringing production back to the U.S., they believed it would not only create jobs but also restore national pride in American-made products. The order, they believed, would incentivize companies to bring production back to the U.S. and create a more robust and resilient domestic auto industry. New factories equipped with the latest technology would spring up, providing modern, safe, and efficient workplaces for American workers. However, critics argued that the potential job gains from the executive order were overstated. They questioned whether the benefits would be as significant as proponents claimed, suggesting that the reality might be more complex. They pointed out that the auto industry had already become highly automated, with robots and advanced technology playing an increasingly significant role in manufacturing. This automation meant that fewer human workers were needed to produce the same number of cars. As a result, they argued, even if companies did open new factories in the U.S., these factories would likely employ fewer workers than their predecessors. The jobs that were created might also require different skills, focusing more on managing and maintaining automated systems rather than traditional manufacturing roles. Furthermore, critics argued that the executive order failed to address the root causes of the decline in American manufacturing, such as automation and global competition. They suggested that without addressing these fundamental issues, any gains from the executive order would be short-lived. They argued that a more comprehensive approach, focusing on education, infrastructure, and innovation, was needed to truly revitalize the manufacturing sector and create sustainable, high-paying jobs. Investing in education would ensure that workers had the skills needed for modern manufacturing jobs, while improvements in infrastructure would make it easier for factories to operate efficiently. Innovation, they believed, would keep American manufacturing competitive on a global scale, ensuring long-term success and stability for the industry. While the intention behind Trump's executive order was clear, the economic impact on the auto industry was multifaceted and extensive. The announcement sent ripples through the entire industry, affecting not just automakers but also suppliers, dealerships, and even consumers. For automakers, the mandate to produce cars domestically meant significant changes in their operational strategies. Companies had to reevaluate their supply chains, which had become globalized over decades. This shift required substantial investments in new facilities, equipment, and workforce training. Some automakers faced the challenge head-on, announcing plans to build new factories in the U.S. and expand existing ones. Others, however, expressed concerns about the increased costs associated with domestic production, which could lead to higher prices for consumers. Pause 2S. The suppliers who provide essential components for car manufacturing also felt the impact. Many of these suppliers were based overseas, benefiting from lower production costs. The executive order pushed them to consider relocating their operations to the U.S. or forming new partnerships with domestic companies. This transition was not without its challenges, as it required time and significant financial investment. On the dealership front, the anticipation of a shift in production led to uncertainty. Dealerships had to prepare for potential changes in inventory, pricing, and consumer demand. They faced the possibility of higher prices for American-made cars, which could affect sales and customer preferences. Additionally, dealerships in regions with new or expanded factories hoped to see an economic boost, as increased local employment could lead to higher disposable incomes and, consequently, more car sales. Consumers, on the other hand, were caught in the middle. While many supported the idea of buying American-made cars, they were also wary of potential price increases. The executive order promised to bring back jobs and revitalize communities, but it also raised questions about affordability and accessibility. Would the average American be able to afford these domestically produced vehicles, or would the higher costs push them towards used cars or foreign brands? Pause 2S. Economists weighed in on the broader implications of the executive order. Some argued that the increased production costs could lead to inflationary pressures in the auto industry, affecting the overall economy. Others believed that the long-term benefits of a stronger domestic manufacturing sector would outweigh the initial challenges. They pointed to the potential for increased tax revenues, higher employment rates, and a more resilient economy as key advantages. Pause 2S. Ultimately, the economic impact of Trump's announcement on the auto industry was complex and far-reaching. The executive order set off a chain reaction, influencing various aspects of the industry and the economy. As the dust settled, it became clear that the true effects would take time to fully materialize, and the industry would need to adapt to this new landscape. Pause 2s. In the next chapter, we will explore how this executive order has influenced consumer behavior and the choices they make when purchasing vehicles. Pause 2s. Stay tuned. As the dust began to settle on Trump's executive order, the reactions from major auto manufacturers were both varied and impactful. Pause 2s. For some, the announcement was a call to action, prompting immediate strategic shifts and public statements of commitment to American production. Pause 2s. Ford, one of the largest American automakers, quickly announced plans to invest $1 billion in expanding their manufacturing facilities in Michigan. Pause 2s. This move was seen as a strong endorsement of the executive order, aiming to create thousands of new jobs and solidify their status as a patriotic brand. Pause 2s. General Motors, another titan of the industry, took a more cautious approach. Pause 2s. They expressed support for the initiative but highlighted the complexities involved in reshoring production. Pause 2s. GM emphasized the need for substantial government support in the form of tax incentives and infrastructure improvements to make domestic manufacturing viable. Pause 2s. On the other hand, foreign automakers with significant operations in the US, such as Toyota and Honda, found themselves in a delicate position. Pause 2s. While they had long been contributors to the American auto landscape, the executive order placed additional pressure on them to increase their investments. Pause 2s. Both companies announced plans to expand their US operations, but with a clear message that they would need time and support to fully comply with the new mandate. Tesla, the electric vehicle pioneer, saw the executive order as an opportunity. Pause 2s. Already committed to manufacturing in the US, Tesla announced accelerated plans to ramp up production at their Gigafactory in Nevada. Pause 2s. The company framed this as a win-win scenario, aligning with their mission to advance sustainable energy while supporting American jobs. Pause 2s. Not all reactions were positive, however. Pause 2s. European automakers like BMW and Volkswagen voiced concerns about the feasibility of the executive order. Pause 2s. They argued that the global supply chain was too deeply entrenched to be easily restructured. Pause 2s. These companies warned that the increased costs associated with reshoring could lead to higher prices for consumers and potential layoffs in their home countries. Pause 2s. The reactions from major auto manufacturers highlighted the diverse challenges and opportunities presented by the executive order. Pause 2s. While some saw it as a chance to boost their American presence, others grappled with the financial and logistical hurdles. Pause 2s. As the industry navigated this new terrain, it became clear that collaboration between the government and automakers would be crucial. Pause 2s. The road ahead was uncertain, but the potential for a revitalized American auto industry was a powerful motivator for many. Pause 2s. In the next chapter, we will delve into how this executive order has influenced consumer behavior and the choices they make when purchasing vehicles. Pause 2s. Stay tuned. The potential environmental implications of Trump's executive order have sparked a wide range of discussions among experts and activists. Pause 2s. On one hand, the move could lead to significant advancements in green technology as automakers strive to meet stringent environmental regulations while reshoring production. Pause 2s. Companies like Tesla, already at the forefront of electric vehicle innovation, view this as an opportunity to further their mission of promoting sustainable energy. Pause 2s. By ramping up production at their Gigafactory, Tesla aims to not only create jobs but also reduce the carbon footprint associated with vehicle manufacturing. Pause 2s. However, the shift in production also raises concerns about the environmental costs of expanding manufacturing facilities. Pause 2s. Building new plants and increasing output could lead to higher emissions and resource consumption if not managed carefully. Pause 2s. Critics argue that without strict environmental oversight, the push to bring manufacturing back to the US might inadvertently harm the environment. Pause 2s. The executive order's focus on domestic production has also prompted discussions on the future of renewable energy sources in the auto industry. Pause 2s. Automakers are now under pressure to invest in cleaner technologies and more efficient production methods to comply with both the executive order and environmental standards. Pause 2s. This could accelerate the development and adoption of electric vehicles, hybrids, and other green technologies. Pause 2s. On the flip side, Some worry that the emphasis on reshoring could lead to a resurgence in traditional, less environmentally friendly manufacturing practices if not properly regulated. Pause 2s. The balance between economic growth and environmental sustainability becomes a delicate act, requiring careful planning and execution. Pause 2s. Environmental groups have called for comprehensive policies that ensure any industrial growth aligns with long-term sustainability goals. Pause 2s. They advocate for incentives that promote the use of renewable energy, recycling of materials, and reduction of waste in the manufacturing process. Pause 2s. The executive order's environmental implications are multifaceted, presenting both challenges and opportunities for the auto industry. Pause 2s. As automakers navigate this new landscape, their ability to innovate and adapt will play a crucial role in shaping the future of sustainable transportation. Pause 2s. In the next chapter, we will explore how consumers are responding to these changes and what it means for the future of the American auto market. Pause 2s. Stay tuned. The political ramifications of Trump's executive order to reshape the American auto landscape have been profound and polarizing. Pause 2s. On one side of the aisle, supporters argue that this move is a bold step towards reclaiming American manufacturing prowess and safeguarding national interests. Pause 2s. They believe that by bringing auto production back to U.S. soil, the executive order will strengthen the economy and reduce reliance on foreign imports. Pause 2s. This nationalist perspective has garnered significant support among certain voter bases, particularly in regions historically dependent on manufacturing jobs. Pause 2s. Pause 2s. However, critics of the executive order argue that it is a protectionist measure that could strain international trade relations. Pause 2s. They warn that the policy may trigger retaliatory tariffs from other countries, potentially leading to a trade war that could hurt the global economy. Pause 2s. Some politicians and economic experts express concerns that the executive order might alienate key allies and trading partners, complicating diplomatic relationships. Pause 2s. Pause 2s. Public opinion on the executive order is equally divided. Pause 2s. In a recent survey, a significant portion of the American public expressed support for the initiative, citing the potential for job creation and economic growth. Pause 2s. Many see it as a necessary intervention to revive struggling local economies and provide opportunities for skilled labor. Pause 2s. Pause 2s. Conversely, there is a considerable segment of the population that questions the long-term viability of the policy. Pause 2s. Skeptics worry about the environmental costs, potential price increases for automobiles, and the broader implications for international trade. Pause 2s. Some fear that the executive order prioritizes short-term gains over sustainable long-term economic strategies. Pause 2s. Pause 2s. Social media platforms have become battlegrounds for heated debates on the topic. Pause 2s. Hashtags supporting and opposing the executive order trend daily, reflecting the nation's divided stance. Pause 2s. Influential figures and celebrities have also weighed in, further amplifying the discussion and shaping public opinion. Pause 2s. Pause 2s. The executive order's political ramifications extend beyond the auto industry, influencing broader debates on trade, manufacturing, and national policy. Pause 2s. As the nation grapples with these changes, the ultimate impact of Trump's decision remains to be seen. Pause 2s. Will it lead to a revitalized American auto industry, or will it spark unforeseen challenges? Pause 2s. Only time will tell. Pause 2s. Pause 2s. In our final chapter, we will delve into the consumer response to these shifts and what it means for the future of the American auto market. Pause 2s. Stay tuned.